Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Karen, this is Karen Sew Slowly, and welcome if you're new here. I hope you decide to subscribe and give me a comment or a like. I'm going to try and stop moving the camera because I've got a hold of it, because what I want to cover in this quilting vlog is the wall behind me. So if I can just swivel around on the chair, you'll see that I have started putting up my quilting walls. So yesterday in the afternoon, I managed to use some 505 spray to glue the fabric onto this panel and that panel. I'll show you the panels in the moment that I used. The fabric that I used is a polyester suede, and I followed Rachel from Stitch with Rachel on YouTube, who does quilting vlogs, about what she did for her quilting wall, and I watched everything she did. The quilting wall that she made was huge compared with this one, but I'm going to have 4 panels, I hope, of sort of that width, which is going to go right across this wall behind me. Underneath my Karen Sew Slowly. I don't know if that's going to come out the right way around to you. So yeah, so it's covered in a polyester suede, and this one here I managed to get for, I do think it was like £1 a metre from Pound a Metre Fabrics. I think they've still got it, and it was the only colour they had. It was the colour I wanted. I ended up buying a chocolate brown suede, polyester suede from Hobbycraft, which was £7.50 a metre. So I spent a bit on the chocolates, but I can always use that to cover dog beds and things like that. It's not going to go to waste or just end up being chucked out or anything. So I did waste a little bit of money getting that, but I was just so keen to get started. And actually, when I did buy that and get home, I didn't get started because I didn't have my 505 spray, I didn't have my duct tape, etc, etc. So yeah, so I'm quite pleased. Stuck those up last night, wrapped them in fabric, did them out in the garden because I sprayed the board. Well, I didn't with this one. I did with the second one. I sprayed the board with 505. No, I did. I sprayed both boards. God, get it right, Karen. I sprayed both boards with 505 spray, just a little bit at a time, and once I'd measured the fabric, and I'd roll the fabric down. And then this one I took into the house and I put it upside down on the dining room table, pulled the fabric round and stuck it down with duct tape, like little bits of duct tape all the way around, intending to then put long strips of duct tape on, which I ended up, I don't think I needed to do. And it's pretty wrinkle free. This one though, I decided, why don't I turn the board over while it's outside, and when I pull it round to stick it down with duct tape, spray 505 round the edge as well. So that's what I did to this one, but I'm sure the 505 will hold it a little bit better, but I don't think I need to do that. I think I just need to pull it round and use the duct tape like I did on this one. So I stuck these bits on last night, all these blocks that I've made, and just to see if they would hold. And then I've also stuck this one on the wall, and holding that up are 2 large and 2 smaller command strips. Let's see what size. I'll show you what size they are, because I have a few left to do the next few, and I've ordered some more off the internet. So we've got 4 of these big ones holding it up at the top. So we've got 2 at the top, 2 at the middle of the big ones of that size. They're about 2.5, 3 inches, maybe 3 inches long. And then the smaller ones, these ones, 2 inches at the most. I've got a couple of those just holding the bottom up, and I thought if it's still stuck to the wall this morning, great, we'll press on with the other 3 boards, or the other 2 boards. I didn't stick this one up because I might put that one at the end, or I might actually have that as a spare one to go somewhere else in the room, because I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit crinkly, and there is a bit down here that I don't particularly like. It probably just needs a bit sort of sticking down and pulling round. But, you know, that'll be fine. If I don't have enough fabric to make another 3, then I'll just use that one. And, you know, there'll be no waste or anything there. So I haven't wasted my time doing that. But I might use it as I have a spare bit of wall at the above my cutting table, and I might use it as like an extra block planner, whatever you want, a quilt planner, quilt display board, wall, if it doesn't get used behind the thing. Look at this bit of hair. What's going on here? Go down. So the fabric I've done, the material I've done is they are insulation boards. I'm just going to have a sip. Always do this in the middle of a vlog. Delish. Yeah, they're insulation boards. They are polystyrene, styrofoam to Americans. Mine are literally just an inch thick, I think. And I did need quite thick material to cover them. I think Rachel from Stitch with Rachel used wadding on hers and then a fabric. But I don't think they would hold with command strips if I had wadding and the fabric. Plus the little amount of wadding I've got, I want to keep for some mini quilts and the quilt that I'm making at the moment. So if I take you over here, I can show you what I used. So these are the design boards I used. They are about, I would say, 4 foot in length. I should really measure them. I'll measure them and I'll put the measurements on the bottom of the screen. But as you can see, sorry for anybody who doesn't like this noise, but they are just styrofoam, polystyrene. They're just a dark grey colour. But because I was going to be covering them, I wasn't really bothered what colour they were. And I think Rachel from Stitch with Rachel ended up getting some sort of black and white spotty ones, which is why she used a bit of wadding and a heavier fabric or whatever to try and hide the black spots. So I have 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. So there's a pack of 8 of those, and I have a feeling they were only about £12 or something for the pack of 8. I'll just show you from over here so you can so I'm really chuffed with that, and I'm really chuffed that the fabric has stayed attached to those. They're not pinned in or anything, they're just stuck on by hand. So I mean, yeah, I am so pleased with that. So just to show you the amount of squares I've managed to do, these are actually a 4 square of the fabrics that I got. I don't particularly want them in a pattern, but sort of there I've got 3 light ones together, which I don't like because that's jumping out at me. I'm not bothered if they're running a diagonal like that for a couple, just as long as there's no set pattern, and that it's like you move one along and it's very different. So over here I have a pile of the ones that I've yet to stitch together. So we still have quite a few. I've no idea how many's there. I did make about, I think, 100. So why am I doing a Christmas quilt? Well, it'll take me that long to make it, for one thing. But I was doing, if anybody watched the earlier vlogs when I first started quilting, I was starting on English paper piecing and hexagons, and I wasn't picking it up. I wasn't doing it. Plus I get neuropathy through chemo. I get a lot of neuropathy in my fingers, and if I'm having a bad hand day, they're a bit shaky and a bit useless. I drop things, I stab myself. So I thought, I think hexagons are just going to be a push too far, unless I just do them when my hands are right, in which case anything that is purely hexagons, it's just going to take me forever. So especially English paper piecing as well. Although I did enjoy it, I love, you know, I've still got loads left to do, and I could sort of add them into a little project, I suppose. The ones I've done, I think I've done about 30 hexagons. But what I would like the quilters out there to give me help with is, if I was to use another fabric, which I've actually bought, what would sashing look like on that quilt? So if I had a four square and a 4 square, and did sashing in between, and I'm thinking I'd have to do that, otherwise I'd have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 square, and I don't know what that would look like, because I'd have to put 4 4s together, bearing in mind I've already sewed a load of 4s together. And then I've got this fabric to do sashing with. Now, it doesn't bother me if I use this for sashing or not. I could use it as the quilt backing. And what I really wanted was like a jacquard cream with a little Christmas tree pattern in. And the reason I'm saying that is because I have a tablecloth with that sort of pattern on. And I did wonder whether it was worth buying a few tablecloths and just making the sashing out of the tablecloths, which I might yet do. I think I got the tablecloth downstairs quite reasonable, so it wouldn't be much more than probably less than buying material. I think I got it really quite cheap. But I don't really want to cut, like, I've only got 2 or 3 Christmas cloths, and I do quite a lot of entertaining usually over a Christmas, so I don't want to cut one of the Christmas tablecloths up to make sashing if I could get fabric between now and Christmas. However, I want to get it finished, or at least stitched up, at least so I can show everybody a quilt top. So I am going to crack on with it. But for this afternoon, if you are a quilter and you know how that would look with sashing, I think this is a pretty neutral fabric, and I think it would go with most of the. So if I pick a few of these off, what have I got there? There's little red berries on here. There's red berries on most of the ones in there. There's even red berries on the blue one. So if I had, you know, sashing in between like that, I think it would look okay. Like I say, I would have preferred a cream, and the reason I don't say red is because there are ones that are sort of very red, and I think if you had a sashing where the red squares were on the outside, which they would be on a 4 square all the time, if the red squares were next to the red sashing, it would sort of distort the pattern a little bit. So I tried to get something as much cream as I could with as tiny pattern as I could, and yeah, so I'm thinking of doing the sashing in that, but we'll see. We will see. I might start the sashing and it might all go horribly wrong, and then I'll change my mind, which has definitely happened before, hence the hexagons to squares scenario. And these are the squares that I cut to make into hexagons, which is why they are so small. I'm going to do a little vlog now of me putting some fabric on a board, and hopefully show you how I've done with it, and you can let me know what you think of that. But it's stuck, it hasn't come down, it's not making any noise like it's going to come down where you can hear it unsucking off the wall. I have bought the actual command strips, not the you can get some on Amazon that aren't command strips, that are advertised alongside, and they are a little bit cheaper. But I've used them already in here, and where I pulled them off the wall, it has taken all the paint off, down to the plaster. Yeah, command are much nicer and much more friendly to your walls. So So I'll pop that video in here, and if you've got any comments or any suggestions about the sashing or about the wall and what to stick it up with if it does fall down, you can let me know. And let me know as well what you think of my Christmas quilt. I hope you all have plenty of time to sew, quilt, or whatever your thing is. Thanks for joining me today and spending time with me. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Right, so excuse that noise, that's the dog rolling around on the floor. Millie. So I've done this one, covered it, and I've glued it down, but I'm actually gluing it down out here. See if I can show you. So what I've done is I've rolled up the fabric with the right side in there, and I'm using the 505 spray. I'm going to spray just a little bit along here, just about that much, and then gradually put the fabric on and then roll it down and then do another little strip, etc, etc, all the way down to the bottom. So I've cut the fabric so I know there's enough to have about 2 or 3 inches at the side to wrap around, but we'll do this and I'll show you when I get so far. Try and do this one-handed to show you.